Chapter 2 Old Abraham's Words. Old Abraham was not from our village to begin with. He had come years ago, one rainy autumn, bringing with him only an old suitcase, a walnut cane, and a Bible with worn covers. No one knew exactly where he came from. Some said that he had been a history teacher in the city, others that he had worked on construction sites in the Middle East. But no one could confirm anything, because Abraham never talked about his past. You would see him first thing in the morning, walking slowly along the dusty road, his cane rhythmically tapping the gravel. He would often stop to look at the sky, as if everything he needed to know were written up there. He had hair as white as the foam of the sea in winter and a short but neat beard. However, his eyes were the part that attracted attention. They were not tired, old eyes, but clear and penetrating, as if they could see more than the rest of the people. The first time I heard the words "otherwise" was on a quiet afternoon in the cafe. Outside, a warm wind was blowing, but inside, the television was blaring about a new, strategic mobilization on the borders of a distant country. People nodded, commented nervously or sarcastically, until Abraham, without looking up from his cup of tea, said quietly, "The time has come for Gog of the land of Magog." The silence fell immediately. These names were not those of any modern politician. They did not appear on the maps I saw on the news. They seemed taken from an old story, and yet he spoke them with an unsettling certainty. An older man, who had worked at the port for years, snorted, "Gog, Magog. These are from Grandma's fairy tales." Abraham looked up, and there was no anger in his eyes, but a sharp silence. "They are not fairy tales. They are written in Ezekiel, long before we were born, and it is happening now." He took the Bible out of his old bag, with brown covers worn at the corners. He opened it to a place he knew by heart, and read in a low but clear voice, "And you will come from the farthest parts of the north, you and many peoples with you, all of them riding on horses, a great multitude and a mighty army." Ezekiel 38 verse 15. On the faces of those in the cafe, a curiosity mixed with fear could be read. Some tried to smile, but their smiles were crooked. Others were watching the television, as if they wanted to compare the old man's words with the images on the screen. And what did they see? Columns of armored vehicles, convoys of trucks, thousands of soldiers in uniform, the iron horses that Abraham would later talk about. I was skeptical at the time, but something in his tone made me unable to dismiss everything. He didn't speak like a fanatical preacher, but like a witness who had seen too much. A few days later, I had my first serious conversation with him, outside, on the bench in front of the store. The sky was leaden, and the wind carried the smell of burnt smoke from several kilometers away. Abraham looked at the road and said, "In the scripture, there are not just stories, but warnings. Ezekiel saw how entire nations gather against a small country, without walls. And that war is not just between people. It is the beginning of the end." "And you think now?" I asked. He smiled sadly. "I don't think so. I know